In this video, we're going to be looking at our next shape and our next method of value, which is monochromatic. Monochromatic means that we are using one color as well as white and black in order to get that full range of value. So again, we have another cube-like shape, so we can use the same techniques that we used in the previous video. First, identify the light source. So in this case, this arrow is pointing in the direction of where our light is coming from. So in reverse of the first shape we did, we will have the top still being the lightest. However, this side here is going to be our 50%. And this shape right back here will be the darker 75%. Again, this is our monochromatic scheme. So we're going to be sticking with one color. So I'm going to select one from our collection of colored pencils here. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this because it's just like the previous one. So I'm going to do a very light layer across the whole shape itself. And just like in the example, we're going to be doing a light layer on top. We're not going to be keeping that with white. And in this shape we're working in here, like I said, it's going to be that 50% because this shape is just reversed of our previous shape. And then the final face of our cube, we will be adding in some black using our graphite drawing pencil that we used for the achromatic cube. So I'm changing it up and moving into my second layer. So I think that I'm just going to jump into a time lapse and I can get these finished up and then I'll come back.
Whoa, put her back in. She's not done yet. Whoa, put her back in. Whoa, put her back in. She's not done yet. Whoa. Whoa, put her back in. She's not done yet. Whoa, put her back in. Whoa, put her back in. She's not done yet.
So I've reached a point where I've added a couple layers to either side of our form here, and I think at this point I want to go ahead and add some of that drawing pencil into our darker shape over here. So I'm going to take my drawing pencil and just gently I'm going to add a layer on top of this blue. Always start with a lighter layer first, so you can at least get an idea of where you should be going, and then you can always go back in later with a couple more layers or just one more layer but with a lot more pressure in order to give it a darker value. So as you can see, I added just a very light layer of value. I definitely can push that a bit further, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a second layer, pressing down just a tad bit harder. And we can already see that this side is getting much darker in value than our other side. And so then after I finish this up, I'll go ahead with my blue colored pencil and give it just another layer or two. This side's still a bit too light for what I'm liking, so I think another layer with more pressure should get me to that value range that I'm looking for.
She's not done yet. Oh, yeah. You're all right. You're all right. Don't worry about it. You're all right. You're all right. You too, Chuckles. You're all right. You're all right. Don't worry about it. You're all right. You're all right. You're all right. You're all right. Don't worry about it. You're all right. You're all right.
Alright, so I've added a few more layers of blue into this shape. and as you can see, it's a lot darker. It's reached that 50% range that I was going for. Maybe it could be a bit more darker, but I think this is a good value to start. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more of my graphite pencil onto this side to make it darker. So in that time lapse, if you notice, I picked up my pencil a bit more, so I was holding it more like this so I could use the tip a bit more because the tip does apply more pressure. In the previous video, I kind of cautioned against that, but there is a point where if you need to apply more pressure, you can move into using that tip to get not only just these smaller areas, but also to get darker values. Just be careful with how you do that, because you don't want to press too hard into paper to the point where you create ridges that will not disappear. I'm just going to finish this up, and then the next part we will have to add the cast shadow, which is, in this case, it's going to be darker than this side. So I'm going to start off with the drawing pencil to outline that bit. So again, we have our light source coming in through this way. Our darkest side is going to be over here, which means the cast shadow will be over on this side here. Let's go ahead and start at this corner. I'm just going to lightly trace out where I think that shadow will be. So I'm going to make another line over here. Because this is a cube, again, we have a very squared shadow. So I'm going to say our shadow is going to be somewhere in this range. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. This time I start with the drawing pencil because I want the shadow to actually be darker. I will go back in with the blue colored pencil just lightly. I might add a few layers of that, but primarily I want to use the drawing pencil in order to get the darker values into the shadow here.
You're all right. Oh, this is some party. You're all right. You're all right. Don't worry about it. You're all right. If it gets any livelier, a funeral's gonna break out. Oh, put her back in. She's not done yet. Oh, put her back in. Oh, put her back in. She's not done yet. Oh, yeah. Oh, put her back in. Oh, put her back in. Oh, put her back in. She's not done yet. Oh, yeah.
So that brings us to the end of our monochromatic shape. Our next shape, we will move into the complementary color scheme, meaning we will take two opposite colors in order to create value. So I'll see you then.
You don't like it? Call the cops.